Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 188 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. As always, a huge shout out to you for listening, either live with our community on Saturday at noon Eastern on YouTube, or in your car driving to work on Monday wishing you were playing Pantheon instead. No matter how you listen, Draq and I think you are awesome. If you haven't heard already, you can help support the channel either through our Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. We need one more member of any level to hit our halfway point to the goal that we set a year and a half ago. And that member could be you. Check our links below to see if there's a tier that works for you. Lastly, if you've been around the community for a while, you know Draq has zero sense of direction. You should never follow him to find your camp, and he gets lost in one-way tunnels. For him, a roadmap must be very clear. So let's get this episode rolling and see how lost he really is. Now, on with the show.
The adventurers gathered around a cracked oak table in a run-down inn. Maps sprawled out like treasure themselves. Anton Duviditis, the Dark Mirror Shaman Glyph Keeper, traced glowing glyphs on his sea-worn chart. This path is the oldest, blessed by tides and time. Churudude, the gnome summoner, held up his scroll with moving ink. But my map updates itself magically. That's clearly superior. Calorok, the dwarf paladin, slammed a gauntlet on his stone-carved route. Dwarves carved this mountain. We know the best way. Please. Eliv, the halfling rogue, scoffed, dangling upside down from a beam. Shortest ways through the Green Teeth Hollow. Been through twice. Ziplox, the dark mirror rogue, eyed the map silently, then nodded towards Eliv. If we're not spotted, it's our fastest bet. Annoying Llama, the human monk, meditated mid-room, mumbling, "The path chooses us. Breathe. Walk." Screech, the Scar Bard, strummed a chaotic tune. Let fate decide, roll the dice, take the road fate favors. Archbishop, the second dwarf paladin, growled, "I say we march all three roads at once." Dwimble, the gnome rogue, smirked. Or we could split up and race. Winner picks dinner. The table fell silent. "We're gonna die, aren't we?" murmured Screech. Everyone nodded, and then they packed.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map.
What the hell was that?
Dora, you didn't ever do Dora the Explorer?
I don't have any kids.
Every single one of my kids did Dora the Explorer, and teaching them Spanish, doing the thing, and you have to hear that dumb map song every time. But for adult maps, we get the Pantheon roadmap. Daimlos, are you super excited about the Pantheon roadmap?
I couldn't be more excited for the path that Pantheon is taking than anyone. I am number one good cop when it comes to the roadmap today.
When you say it like that, it makes me think that you're not being 100% truthful.
What? No, come on, Draq. You know me. 100% truth all the time. I never lie. I am only here to speak truths about the 2025 Pantheon Rise of the Fallen roadmap.
All right, well, why don't you tell everybody what your favorite parts of the roadmap are?
Okay, favorite parts. Number one, very first thing on there, PvP servers. Coming out April 2nd. We got a date. We got one date for PvP servers. Those are the only numbers on there, so that's good. We don't want too many numbers on there because that would be committing to stuff, and we don't want to do that because we know how these things roll. Don't want to overcommit and underdeliver because that would be real bad because nobody likes that. Nobody.
I don't think there's any possible way they could do that with this roadmap.
What are you talking about? Look at all these things that are on here. So let's take a look at the chevrons that are going across the top.
Did you say the C word?
Oh, we weren't going to talk about chevrons this week. Why did they put chevrons in the roadmap, Draq?
I think this is like black helicopters, the grassy knoll.
Area
like
51.
Ben and I should be all over this. There are definitely chevrons in the roadmap. And I think this is a real slap in the face to the non-chevron crowd.
There are 6 chevrons on this roadmap, which means there are about to be 6 chevron mobs in the game. That's happening. Mark my words. 2025, March 25th, Daimlos. Quote.
All right. Well, let's get slightly serious here. Was there anything else you liked about the roadmap?
So, we're going to flesh everything out, get everything to 40 so we can finally, maybe take a shot at balancing the game, and then more zones on the horizon with Blackrose Keep, of course, and the trench and the underground and an underwater zone that all my good merfolk are going to be chomping at the bits for. So that's pretty exciting. Plus new dungeons. We like new dungeons. Ports, lighthouse. These all sound great. I'm really interested to see what these raids are going to be like. Boss encounters are cool because that's a group thing, but these raids, we can't even put a raid together yet, but yet we're going to get some raid mobs. So I know we talked about that a couple episodes, but I just real excited to see how that's going to happen or what that's going to even look like. Then we put this real list together. I'll tell you what I liked about the roadmap the best. Number one thing of the roadmap, super colorful, just very vibrant. It's nice to look at. There's not a whole lot of specific information, but who needs that? It's a roadmap. It just tells you the direction that we're going. You don't need to put dates on that thing, right? We certainly know where the target stores are going to be in Terminus now. There's going to be at least one in each zone. So if you need a super target, you'll know where to go for that.
That's where you can get your Pokemon cards at?
Oh, yeah. They're all sold out. Come on. All those halflings love those Pokemon cards. They're completely sold out. But yeah, it's just super nice and colorful and eye-popping. That's probably about it, if I had to say all the good things.
All right. So you're officially done being positive and I can come in over the top with Bad Cop?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Bad Cop. Hit me up. Bad Cop Draq.
Bad Cop Draq. I can't tell you how disappointed I am at this roadmap.
There's a real hard... You can't really start anywhere. Right?
Like it's so hard. No, I can start somewhere. Let's start. All right. Here's my starting spot. And this is the reason that everybody in Pantheon, all the VIPs, everybody that's been around 10, 15 years, the reason that we want a roadmap is because VR has this history of being like, oh, well, we want to do this. And then, oh, look, a squirrel. And then I'm going to go over here and do that. And then, oh, look, a squirrel. Oh,
plastic bag.
Dude, I'm old enough to remember Project Fairthale, right? Where we were going to create the elf homeland. And that was going to be the testing ground for all of Pantheon. And everything was going to be dependent on Fairthale because we were going to show it to investors and it was going to blow people away.
Yeah.
And then it never happened. We never saw anything of Project Fairthale except for one time when Minus accidentally went into it, apparently. But that's it. Nothing else ever happened because then we moved on to the next thing. And then we moved on to 247. And then we moved on to like seasons. And then we moved on to early access. And now we've moved on to when we have a roadmap that says nothing because they're as you pointed out, other than the PvP servers launching on the 2nd, there's no actual dates here. And major content releases every 6 to 8 weeks is not a drop. Unless you're telling me that each one of these chevrons is 6 to 8 weeks and those things are absolutely going to be done at the 8-week mark.
Oh, God, if one of the 6 to 8 weeks is mountain taming, I'm going to be so fucking pissed.
Yeah, that's what it is. If they get that done. But like, and as you said, I don't care about the POIs on the map. This is, one, it's too much information, and 2, it's too vague. It's super vague. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And 3, there are no discernible things that we're trying to hit. The whole point of the roadmap is that you give us the goals that you want to hit, and then we get to judge you on whether you hit them or not. That's our side of what we like about the roadmap. But VR is so paranoid because they haven't hit goals in the past. And
we've hit every goal for 9 months straight, Draq.
No, they have not. And they haven't. And they're so paranoid about not hitting the goal that they gave us a crappy roadmap. It sucks.
It's pretty bad.
My favorite part of development for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen was the seasons, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because we had 6 weeks and they had a freaking goal. And they were at the start, it was good goals. So they're like, okay, in 6 weeks, AVP, done. Boom. In 6 weeks, we're going to release Hounder's Cave. Done. Boom. Okay, in 6 more weeks, we're going to do this. And then they started to get off track after about the 4th season. Because then they were like, well, we're going to take a little break and do this and this and that. And then they got off track. And then they're like, oh, never mind. We're not doing season anymore. We're going to do early access. And if they just could have kept up doing that, then I think we would be in a much better place than we are now. Also, and I know.
At least, hold on, Draq. At least they recognize that they need to go back to that. Because that's what this major content.
But they're not doing it
6 to 8 weeks.
No, they're not.
It literally says it right on top. Oh. Okay.
But what? What are we releasing in 6 to 8 weeks? Are they from left to right?
We're waiting for the name. Remember, we always used to get a name.
Hold on. No, because the Shattering PvP servers, April 2nd, that's not in 6 to 8 weeks.
It's in 1 week.
Yeah. So does then the next thing start from 6 weeks, 8 weeks to then? Or does it start from 6 to 8 weeks from now?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we have any idea of what the heck they are doing because this isn't actually a roadmap. There are nothing on here that actually binds them to anything, which is the whole point of what...
some would call that smart.
No. No, it's dumb. Here's the other thing, and I know we're not supposed to do this, and I know that VR gets real angry when we do, but let's just gander. Let's just take a peek over at the Monsters and Memories roadmap. Yeah, not good. Not good. Because I got Monsters and Memories roadmap. I have significantly less stuff on this roadmap, right? Significantly less stuff.
Right.
They're not promising nearly as much stuff. But you know what they did do? They put some rock solid things down and they put Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And that's all I freaking want. That's what I want. I want what can I do and when is it going to be done? That's all I want. And I want it to be like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to fail. I don't want, well, we're maybe going to do this and may change. And if we change our mind and decide to go a different direction, then we're going to do that. No, tell me what you're going to do and then go do it. That's the whole point of a roadmap to me. That's what Monsters and Memories has done, and that's what Pantheon has not done. There's a great post on the forum.
Actually, before you get into that, you know what they did put in, Draq?
What did they put in?
Chevrons.
Chevrons, they did. Chevrons are back, baby.
We got Monsters and Memory chevrons and we got Pantheon chevrons. So clearly they did look at this because they stole the chevrons from Monsters and Memories. They just didn't take any of the other good stuff and brutal. Just kind of shat all over it and just blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly how it is. And so it does not give me confidence. And there's a couple of posts which I'll link in the description below of people that are poo-pooing on Pantheon. There's a great post by Finn. Now, if you've been around a long time,
can't believe we're about to agree with Finn.
You know Finn because he is sometimes ridiculously, and I mean overly critical of VR, right?
Yes.
To the point of, come on, man, like you got to give him a break. But I think he was pretty spot on here. And I don't think he didn't pull any punches, but I don't think he went overboard either. His opening line is just straight to the heart of the problem. This is a quote roadmap only in the loosest, most general sense that it kind of paints a picture of what they hope to accomplish sometime this year. That just perfectly encapsulates my whole problem with this roadmap. And just there's nothing that is actually set in stone. There's no goals. It's just a bunch of, it's like watching a Joppa stream. That's really what it is, right? Well, we want to do this. We'd love to do that. But we'll see if it happens. And if it does, that'll be fantastic. And if it doesn't, well, we haven't committed to anything anyway. So, and we've hit every goal that we've ever met.
Another quote from Finn. Anyway, as usual, it comes down to those who have faith in VR actually having a larger plan they just don't share with us, and those who believe there is no plan and what they show reflects that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rough. It's
Yeah.
rough. And this roadmap has done nothing. In fact, it's taken steps backwards for me on my trust level with VR, because
You were up to a 10 like 3 weeks ago.
I was up to a 10 3 weeks ago. We have taken steps back. I'm back to a 7, because it's just like, how can you put this out here? How can you know what the community wants and needs from you to prove that you are moving forward in a good direction and do this? Like, it blows my mind.
If we went to go break this thing down, like this list of features that they put in, it's all just improvements to the game that already exists. There's not really a whole lot of new. The new is up top in the chevrons. And then why would you even talk about 2006 at the bottom of this thing?
That have all the same features as 2005, by the way. There's nothing new in the 2026.
Yeah,
in 2026 than there is in 2025. You haven't teasered anything. So we don't even care, because you haven't given us anything in 2025 yet.
It's pretty ridiculous. Did you notice that there's not a super target in Fairthale? Like, they've completely abandoned Fairthale altogether. There's no super target there. Elves don't like Pokemon cards. It's just not good. It's just not good.
I think that is secretly telling you that they're not getting to the Elf City this year. You know what else they're not getting to is bards and our 3 last races. Those aren't happening this year either, because they're nowhere on this list to be found.
This is just, it makes me feel very sad. We are clearly going to be cutting back something, and it's either going to be races and maybe classes. I feel like bard is, if Joppa put together the base of a bard, I feel like Phil's going to get that done, as long as, he gets paid, which, could be. They've hired more people, so obviously they've got money to pay Phil. So hopefully that bard gets done, or we're going to lose continents. Like, are we only going to get 1 continent, maybe 2 continents? That's a lot of incontinence.
I 100% think, and I said this 2 years ago, I 100% think we're launching with 1 continent. I think, and I could be 100% wrong, but I think that the starting cities where we start at this moment right now is where we may be starting when the game launches itself.
EQ had 3 continents, but the other 2 were nil. Very minimal at best, right? Otis was nothing. There was nothing on there. There was nothing about Otis that had anything. That was like the continent that was forgotten, right? We put the erudites there, and that was the end of it. And that's fine. There was Taxila Forest, but really, do you remember any other zones from that place? There were some, but no one ever went there because there just wasn't anything done.
I mean, there was the Wisp Island, and it's fine. I just don't freaking care.
It was an island.
I know.
Had 5 wisps on it.
It had 5
wisps. They didn't do anything.
They didn't do nothing. It doesn't need to be well thought out content. It just needs to be a space. If you're going to have races that start in different locations, then you have to have a starting area, and you have to have a newbie zone. And then you have to have a path from each starting newbie city to each other starting newbie city. You don't have to develop you don't have to go 1 through 40 for each race. You only have to go 1 through 10 and then connect them all together. And I'm fine with that. But doesn't seem like that's the plan currently.
I mean, how would we know what the plan is? We don't really have much of a roadmap to.
Oh, dude, that was so brutal. So brutal.
I just don't know why they even put this out, Draq. Like, this appeases literally nobody. It's so bad. I mean, I guess you said there were some people that were okay with it, but
yeah, I mean, some of the Discord was okay with it. Actually, we may be in the minority. Redbeard Flynn posted a video, I think it was today, and he's pretty happy with the roadmap. So, I mean, maybe we need
to have Redbeard on. We should have had Redbeard on.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, if you want a more positive roadmap experience, I'll put Redbeard's video in the description of the video. Go check it out. And maybe you can be happier about the roadmap than listening to us old curmudgeonies. But we
Here
have to.
are,
We
week
got to
three.
move on. Yeah, week 3 of
Week
being
3 of
curmudgeons.
curmudgeonous.
All right, we got to move on, or we're just going to complain the whole time.
Yeah.
All right. So there was an auction house thread.
Okay.
You know, not the first, probably not the last. Talking about how do we want to have auction houses? Are we happy with just the shout or the channel, the auction channel? Are we EC tunnel experience, or are we going for like a mailbox experience? Are we going for like a full WoW auction house type experience? What do you want for Pantheon?
I don't care. There's no economy. I don't know if there ever will be.
Do you think auction houses would make an economy?
I don't know.
Would you sell your crap if there was a WoW auction house? Would you just put it on?
Sure. I mean, if it takes 2 seconds to set up and I make a price and can see what everybody else has it up for, sure. I could easily put that up. But right now, this kind of falls in the same line as chevrons and PvP, things that don't matter. I would also like an economy. I mean, Draq, you and I are the economists, right? Like, we thrive when there's money to be made. We buy and sell things. That's what we do. We sit and watch the auction house. We sit in the EC tunnel and look at prices. This is one of our absolute favorite things to do. And I'm saying this needs to not even be discussed until at least next year. There's no economy. There's nothing. I don't know why we're talking about this. There's nothing to need money for other than spells, which you can easily make by the time you get to 40. I just don't get this.
I mean, I think part of it is like, we can't just like sit here and say we need content over and over and over again until we're blue in the face, because that's pretty boring. So we have to have other topics. So naturally the community is going to gravitate to these other topics like auction houses, and they're going to wonder about it. And then, you know, VR is going to think that this is the be all end all, and then they'll probably pivot towards it. And even though it wasn't on the roadmap, it'll probably happen in 2025.
Oh, Draq. So cheeky. Such a cheeky opinion from our Dracky. Cheeky Dracky.
All right. Well, I think it's got to be more than an auction channel. As you said, I think the economy is dead. There
wasn't one to begin with.
Yeah, there wasn't one to begin with. It's never been alive since the beginning. I give away all my gear. I give people money. I give newbies money. I give everybody money. It doesn't matter, because there's nothing I need. I have enough money for all my spells all the way up to 40. I've got like 4 platinum. It doesn't matter.
I don't think that's enough.
I mean, whatever.
It's fine. But by the time we get there,
I'm gonna have 50 platinum. Like, none of it makes any sense. But if there was an auction house and I could buy items that were dropped on it, so like if there was a wizard staff and I could pay 3 platinum for it, then, you know, I might engage with that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that is the play. Maybe we do need one, and I'm just poo-pooing on it because I want more, and we're not getting it.
Would you do an EverQuest Bazaar? Would you be in for that again?
Of course. I'm always in for that. I'm in for
you'd
whatever.
Leave your account logged in to sell stuff?
I prefer the way they do it now, where you go offline, but I could leave it logged in, I guess. We've got the ability to do it offline. I mean, if EQ can do it, then certainly Pantheon can do it as well.
Is that the bar? If EQ can do it, then Pantheon can do it? Because that's...
Well,
I don't know that that's a good bar for VR.
EQ's always been the bar.
All right. Well, speaking of bars, Neph wants to know what the bar is for you having fun in an NPC fight. Like, what makes an NPC encounter fun for you?
Me, I like mechanics. I know that's not a super popular thing because you have to pay attention. Those are what keeps me engaged as the tank. I mean, really, what else can an NPC do other than mechanics?
I think I like NPCs with unique skills. Like, I like NPCs with like a group fear. I like NPCs with like...
Isn't that just a mechanic?
I mean, kind of mechanics, but just like that do cool things, or like that warp around, or, you know, again, it's probably just mechanics. But yeah, I like the NPCs to do things out of the ordinary that regular mobs don't do.
Absolutely.
And that I have to adapt my playstyle to, right? And that I have to learn what the frick is going on. Like the Ravage, right? I like the Ravage.
Yep.
I think originally it was a little overtuned, But I think that it's a fun mechanic, right? You have to figure out that it's a cone. You have to figure out that, you have to turn the mob. Like, I think that overall that Ravage is a huge win for mechanics, and I like it.
Same. I like all the things that the boss mobs that the new werewolf place does, but we need more of that in the regular mobs. Each type of name should have something different, and they kind of do. Like some of them have that AOE heal that they do, where they life drain us and they heal up from it. Stuff like that's fun. But again, then it just comes down to interrupting, right? Like that's the be all end all. Like it's the skeleton key of mechanics is just interrupting what they're doing.
Yeah, I definitely think the mechanics need something else.
A mechanic?
Some more mechanics, more different things to do than just interrupt. We need a variety of things to do. I think that having the mobs run correctly, which they've talked about, is a huge step in the right direction, right? Having a mob run away from your group to other mobs is a huge fear factor, huge pucker factor, and having somebody on snare duty is just an extra layer and element to every fight.
Absolutely. It just makes everything more engaging. And I know that people want chill Pantheon and cozy Pantheon, but I don't. I'm on the side of keep Pantheon hard. It's not a game for the weak of heart. If you want to go play Palia, that's fine. That's a nice cozy game that you can play that just got a nice little update the other day where they have new things to put in your house and ways to harvest. And if that's what you want in a game and you don't want to fight NPCs that are difficult and take, I don't know, cognitive thinking, then yeah, Palia is probably the game for you and not necessarily Pantheon. I feel like we're taking away from it too much, and we got to stick to what we have been doing and not just, we're never going to be able to cater to anyone. We're already called a niche MMO for a reason. And if we're trying to placate to other types of MMO players, then we're just diluting the game for the people that have been here for so long. And I just don't like it. It's just kind of depressing.
Well, what isn't depressing is I just wanted to mention that we have done our first guild event, Daimos.
Yes. I love these things.
Yes. So we took a page straight out of EverQuest. If those of you that will remember, back in the day, we used to do what were called the naked gnome runs, where we would run from the gnome city all the way across, all the way to Quenos, where we would end. And we sometimes we did it as a race, sometimes we did it as a guild. So Greybox, the guild that Daimos and I are in, on Stormona, and you are welcome to join us. Link in the description.
We'll see if our server still exists.
Yeah, we'll see if it exists in a couple of weeks. But we did a naked gnome or a naked halfling run. So not gnomes, because there's no gnomes in the game yet. But we did a naked halfling run. We started in Wild's End and we ran all the way to Thronefest. Oh, awesome. Wait, we didn't actually make it to Thronefest.
It's hard. It's a hard run.
You know what we figured out is that because they put those solo orc mobs in AVP, you can't get past them.
Oh yeah, there's no chance.
It's not hard. It's impossible. Like you have to have like extreme luck to get past them. I think one of our guild members said he almost made it, but he said like it was ridiculously hard and just it's going to be impossible to do. And this makes me a little sad because one of the things that I like to do is get to the other town's starting cities. And those mobs are like what level 12 to 15. So that means that's going to be a while before that's going to be safe to go through.
Yeah, it is a little sad, but also something that Joppa said was going to happen. Although specifically those AVP orcs, I don't think they're going to live there. Like they're there for now, but I don't think that's their permanent home. I think that was just, remember we talked about that last week. It was just emergency filler mobs to help with XPing. So I don't think they actually are going to live there unless we decide that's where they are because we're lazy. But they're certainly not there in the lore. Like that's just not, it just doesn't make any sense.
I just like the AVP way that things were done, right? Where I can run from the AVP to Eastern Plains, and it's super dangerous and super treacherous. And at any moment, I could die, and I understand that. But it's possible to do, right?
Right.
It is accomplishable. And with 6 or 7 deaths, I can get through it, and I can make it. But man, there's no shot in AVP. Like you're done. There's no way through that mess because of the radius of a level 1 character, and just like they're too close together. There's no way you can't go around. There's no way to go around. There's no way to climb up and get around because there's mobs on the hills too. So you're just stuck. You can't get through AVP to get to
We'll
Throne
see.
Pass.
We'll see. It's not done yet. There's a lot of invisible walls. We'll see. There still could be a way.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Last but not least, Draq, I definitely want to talk about that announcement that went out last week that Savanya posted about how maybe, just maybe, there was one patch that got put in and wasn't another patch that got written over it.
Wait a minute. VR, you didn't think we were going to miss that, did you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would like to thank all the people that put in chat and that said that we were wrong and that this is a very common thing that happens and that there's no possible way that two developers could be working on two different patches and one overlaps the other to break the other one. There's no possible way that could happen. And then, lo and behold, Savanya posts that of all people, it was Joppa who didn't check what the newest thing was or just was continuing to work, kind of blindly going on, and broke the game. So our prediction, Draq, of this actually happening, or our speculation that this is what it looks like to the layperson, it turns out this was absolutely correct. You cannot tell me that this is not the first time that it happened because there's so many points that lead to that exact conclusion. And so I am very thankful for everyone that told me that I was super wrong and that there's no way that this could happen. And 100% Deimos and Draq were correct. Thank you.
You can't see me right now, but I am freaking beaming. Like, just beaming. Because all you haters out there, you don't understand business.
Business.
You don't understand how it works in the business. I've been programming for the last 25 years, and this would never happen. Never. And yeah.
Yep. Here we are. Proof. Absolute 100% proof that this happens.
Just Draq and Deimos just sitting back going, you know what it looks like to me is just like they're not communicating.
Miscommunication.
And they're just not talking to each other, and they're just ramming patch after patch over the top of each other. That's kind of what it looks like. That's what it feels like. That's how this whole situation seems to be unfolding.
Lo and behold.
That's exactly what's happening.
This is, as we were talking about this, when this thing dropped, the first thing out of my mouth was, this is the best and worst thing. I'm very happy to be proven right, but so unhappy to be proven right because this just shows that there's just no communication going on. And maybe it's not, I shouldn't say no, because they certainly do communicate with each other, but there's no like fail safe to say, hey, like, why do we patch as gamers and they don't patch themselves? Every time they log in, they should have to patch just like us. And maybe it should kick them out of the game after, maybe it was an issue where Joppa was on, he did his work, another dev came in and put in a patch, and this was where the timestamp was, but Joppa was still logged in, just AFK, came back on and does his work as he does 12 hours a day, and just comes back in and out of it, and just started plowing away at it, and then hit the timestamp again. And it's just to show that this could happen. So there needs to be, even devs need to be timed out. Human error does happen. Miscommunication or lack of communication absolutely happens, and lay people like Draq and Deimos that know nothing about programming can see a pattern and point it out and be right about it. Boom. Mic drop.
It makes me think, like, what else have we been right about?
Probably everything. Let's be honest.
Probably everything.
If I had to guess, I would say everything because we just have this track record of being right. You know, it just.
Well, here's the thing, and not to toot ourselves on our own horn, but I will a little bit, because when you do a podcast like this, all you're really doing is consuming information all the time. Right? So we're just consuming information. And so when you consume that much information about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, then you start to see the patterns. Like we start to see exactly how it's going. And when you see it over and over and over again,
for 4 years for me and 8 years for you.
Yeah, when you see the same pattern over and over, you're like, wait a minute, this is not something that's out of the ordinary. This is their process. So maybe you out in internet land should take a breath next time and consider that in this moment, at least, we were right.
Booyakacha!
Hey, Joppa, you get me so excited about classes and abilities. When you say you're someone, I'll come and friends for me. Hey, Joppa, I hoped your words were pure gold. My broken heart is my fault, so now I carry around an extra shaker of salt. Hey, Joppa.
All right, Dimos, are you ready for the most jam-packed of reviewing of Joppa streams since the history of this podcast?
I want you to know, Draq, that this week I listened to every second of Joppa streams. Are you proud of me?
I'm super proud. But also, Joppa didn't stream one time. Apparently, he had something, quote, very important to do, unquote, and he said he'd be back Monday, but he wasn't back Monday or Tuesday. So we got 0 streams this week, which makes this a really short section of the podcast.
Sorry, everybody. Next week we'll have more Joppa.
Come on. You can do it. Feel the burn. It's Community Spotlight with your boy Benonai. It's time to Panther size. Hey, have we ever said anything about community being important? Sounds familiar. So let's assume for the sake of argument it is, and engaged enough to stop something like 247 test mode, just as a hypothetical. That would mean, for a community of upwards of 100,000 players, we might need more cat herders than Savannah. What is she supposed to do with one poster asking why the Demyth banker isn't in a bank, and another poster asking why the banker was moved into a bank? I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's got to be sure, and he's got to be soon. And it's got to be larger than life. Introducing Community Advocates. Yes, folks, let me tell you about Community Advocates. This is the latest program to bolster the feedback loop from players to the devs. 100 voices are hard to distinguish, so VR has grouped feedback into buckets. Then use the community advocates to concentrate the multiple threads and sentiments of the whole community into something that the devs can read quickly and respond, fix, and explain why it needs to stay as it is. It saves the devs time that they could be working and allows all the people that loves to text wall up the channels to at least have some sense of purpose for doing it. Yes, it is the narcissist's dream. These few, these merry few, this band of brothers, all think the entirety of the game rests on their gamer necks. So, without further ado, up first we have the tech channel handling all things tech related. Can't figure out why your Pentium 2 won't run Pantheon? Hit them up so they can feel sorry for you. Prexus is a computer engineer, i.e. nerd, but he likes pina coladas and getting caught in the dryer? Oh. Also with the tech is Confusion. Confusion cut his teeth on MMOs like WildStar and Modern WoW because he's too young to know anything about EQ, don't ya know? Next, we have the real reason we get up in the morning. It is the one thing that drove us all to embrace Pantheon in the first place. Yes, friends, I'm talking about PvP. This topic is so hot, they couldn't even have 2 community advocates because it would be like crossing the streams. Flourishing is your advocate, and his experience runs deep. He has years of PvP training on all the heavy PvP titles like EverQuest 2 and WoW. Yes, Pantheons, he is willing to abandon his wonderful family for you, so give it up. And now, the crowd favorites arrive. Do you like being an artisan, but not for real? Put your hands together for the crafting advocates. Inside door number 1, we have Valanos. He's a 100%er who likes his alts like he likes his trips. High and often. Then there's Bargelin. He's been crafting in MMOs since he was in diapers. He did, however, wear diapers into the 5th grade. Wait. What's that? What's the crowd chanting in the distance? Oh yes, let's introduce your quest and lore advocates. In this corner, weighing an unknown amount and standing seldom, is the great, the awesome Lifka. He doesn't bother leveling because he's too busy exploring, and he doesn't bother exploring because he's already done that. He cares more about quest and story than Tolkien himself. And in the other corner, you know him. You tolerate him. You fear his text walls and his nerdy rebukes when you misspell the name of a place that isn't even in the game yet. He's the one, the only, the extra. Benonai. What? Oh, there's more. Oh, but wait, there's more. This cadre is not entrenched in their duties until death or the launch of 1.0. No, this too can be yours. The advocates will be swapped out after a few months, allowing a fresh batch of bright-eyed hopefuls to replace the husks left by 3 months of trying to respond to trolls and keyboard warriors. Please, I beg you, answer the call when Savanya asks for the others to advocate for the community, because that's what this position really is. It is not an advocacy for VR, but an advocacy for the players. Hence, community advocates. A collective bargaining point of contact that takes your thoughts and ideas and elevates them to the devs for consideration. That makes your role twofold. 1. Begin by going to the official Discord, here, scrolling down to the channels all the way to the Players Corner, and here you will find a host of feedback and channels in which you can join the conversation. If you don't want 11 trolls and loudmouths being the only opinions the devs hear, it is incumbent upon you to stand up, actually sit down, and speak up. Well, actually just type really. The more diverse the feedback, the better it is for y'all and for the devs. Then secondly, volunteer to be part of the advocates. We need people who like to engage with the community and won't just attack everyone else's opinions. That's why Vandrad and Daimlos will never be allowed to participate. If you have made it this far, please go get a girlfriend. Unless you're married, in which case you don't have time enough to listen to this anyway on a Saturday because you're already at Hobby Lobby picking out a cart full of corbels and filigree. But if you did, I am grateful. Please swing by the channels and let the advocates know you appreciate their time and attention to your stupid ideas. Peace, homie. I'm out.
From the SGL Action News Desk, this is MMO News, featuring your anchors, Draq and Daimlos.
All right, Daimlos, we have another riveting section of MMO news. What do you got for me?
This week, 2 not super real big things happened that I thought would be worth mentioning. So, number 1, if you are into the WoW Hardcore Classic server, there has been a streamer guild that goes by the name of OnlyFangs, and they were run by famous streamer Tyler One until he died in the game, not in real life. Tyler One is still alive and still streaming, and then was taken over by Soda Poppin', other somewhat famous streamers, Grubby, who is a real famous Warcraft 3 player, probably maybe the most famous, and several really attractive females like Annie, what's her bucket? I can't remember. But yeah, from all over the world. They came together and they were in Blackwing Lair. What is it, Draq? I keep forgetting the name of the zone.
Blackwing Lair. Yep. That's
Okay.
it.
Yes. They were raiding Blackwing Lair and they got DDoSed. So they feel like there was an attack on the Only Fangs guild, because a lot of the WoW people don't like this guild because they say they're not good. I don't have any proof that they're not good because I don't really know what makes a WoW player good or not, or to a level where they can be called good. I don't know. Maybe we need to get a neckbeard on to tell us. A lot of the hardcore WoW people don't like them because they're quote unquote not good, or shouldn't be there, or just get streamer privilege. Well, speaking of the streamer privilege, because of this DDoSing that disconnected everyone while they were taking on the second to the last boss of this zone and wiped everybody, like 85 to 90% of their guild that was at that raid wiped. And so Blizzard has now come out with a statement saying that if certain circumstances were to happen, they are able to resurrect hardcore players that are completely dead. So it sounds like our good friends at OnlyFangs are going to get a second chance at Blackwing Lair. How do you feel about streamer privilege, Jack, as a streamer?
Oh my goodness. This is like, who do I hate more? First of all,
yeah, there's a lot of parties to hate. That's for sure.
If you are an uppity WoW hardcore server person and you have the goal to like be like, well, those guys aren't hardcore enough, then like, what the heck? Like, you're just a jerk and a piece of crap. Like, if you made it to raid level content in World of Warcraft Classic and you have not died not one time,
right,
then you're pretty good. I'm not saying
I would like to say that as well.
You're not like, the best, but you're pretty good. Come on. Like, what the heck, people?
You're definitely in the top 10% of WoW players.
Yeah, come on. Like, that's pretty good. But maybe even worse is Tyler 1. Tyler 1 is the most toxic, most raging streamer that I've ever seen. He literally made himself famous on League of Legends by throwing a fit, breaking computer equipment, throwing things, cursing people out, and yelling at people.
Still does it to this day.
Yeah. Like,
I just watched him in a tournament, in a Warcraft 3 tournament with Grubby, and that was his whole shtick. And Grubby's like the most wholesome human being on this planet. Like, there's no greater gamer than Grubby. Every gamer should be and strive to be like Grubby. They've been like doing these videos together, and like Grubby's been kind of teaching him how to play Warcraft 3, and it's been just epic television. And it's funny to see Tyler kind of get put in his place because Grubby's so good at Warcraft 3 and he's not at all. And so he can't like talk shit about Grubby because he's way better at it. So it's been pretty funny watching Tyler 1, have to kind of bite his tongue around Grubby, which is a lot of fun.
I can't even handle it. I know it's an act. I know it's for television.
Yep.
He's probably a nice guy in real life. I just like, I can't condone acting like that, even as an act. It gets under my skin.
It certainly makes money. Just ask Asmongold and Tyler 1 and Nathan Napalm.
No, don't put Asmongold and Nathan in that group. Are you kidding? They are nothing like Tyler 1. If you've never seen a Tyler 1 stream, just look up some YouTube clips. You probably actually will now that you've listened to this podcast, because it'll be all over your phone.
Yeah,
so
enjoy.
it's gonna be great.
You're welcome.
But no, I both of these groups should be ashamed of themselves, except for apparently maybe Grubby, who's the one nice person in the whole lot.
Yeah, well, Tyler 1 and Grubby both died well before this DDoSing thing happened. So they were both in OnlyFangs and they were dead well before it. So they're not getting resurrected, but it looks like the rest of the guild is. Soda Poppin' and all the people that were following him.
Also, are we 100% sure that they were DDoSed, or did they just get, quote, DDoSed, unquote? Like,
if
do we
Blizzard
know?
is looked into it, who knows? Only Blizzard knows, and they're not going to tell us. The problem is that OnlyFangs has been nothing but great advertisement, free advertisement for Blizzard. So the fact that you missed the third party of people who maybe or maybe not should be ashamed, which is Blizzard, the company, for just kind of being like, Well, this is a bunch of great free advertisement for us, so we're just going to kind of go back on our server rules and say, you're back. Ha ha!
So what you're saying is the roadmap for 2025 includes hardcore reses?
Hardcore reses in 2025. Boo-boo-boo! Go watch some of this content. It's actually very good. Like, I don't know many of these streamers, but I've really enjoyed kind of watching them on this path that they're taking. It's entertaining at the very least. So next on the list, our good friends at Embers Adrift have finally announced that they are planning their soft launch on Steam for April. I'm so glad that they're finally getting this done. They said they're 90% done and should be on Steam hopefully next month. I feel so bad for these guys. They're so kind. They work so hard. I mean, at this point, they have to have full-time jobs that they're doing on their own, and they're still pumping out content and trying to make their game the best they can. I just want the best for them. It's kind of like the Gorgon people, right? Like, I want the best for them too, because they work so hard. They've got this project that they want to work on, and just out of the kindness of their heart, they're not looking to make money. I mean, they're just really losing money, especially Embers Adrift. They've just lost a ton of money and they didn't have any to begin with. I want to see these games succeed. So if you're like Redbeard Flynn, like us, and you like indie MMOs, and you can chip them, subscription to $10 for a little while, or play the game, which is pretty good. Maybe it'll be great on Steam. Maybe it'll run well on Steam. They're still working on Unity 6 stuff. They're still working on that update, but they've been making updates this whole time and have been a free game this whole time. So, maybe kick them a couple bucks if you can, or play the game and try to revitalize the player community there, or just be a giant stick in the mud like Draq and never play it again.
Listen, maybe at some point we'll have to do like a weekend or something, do a little Embers stream over the weekend or something. Just like, because you're right. While the game is, I wanted to like Embers. I've said this a million times. I wanted to like Embers so much. I really, really wanted to like it. I just don't like it. And there's just a few things that I just can't get over the hump on. But the people, the developers are so cool and so nice and so just like, as you said,
salt of the earth people.
Salt of the earth people. And I want them to win. I have no stake in the game here. Like, I don't get any money from any of this, right? But I just want them, to be able to make some kind of a wage that pays their bills. Yeah, help them out. If you can, help them out.
5,
Draq, I'm so disappointed in you.
4,
Luckily, every week I dominate this list and just destroy Dimos.
3,
I thought you would just tuck your head between,
No
your butt
way!
cheeks.
No, my list is
And
amazing.
It's not at all.
2,
Oh, already your list is the worst. Your list is the worst.
1.
All right. Top five. I really like this week's top 5. It's one of my favorites. I'm a little concerned that we all might have the same stuff, though.
Maybe. There's a lot of things out there. Let's first introduce it. This is going to be the top 5 mythical beasts or creatures. So you could be right. We'll see what happens. Pretty interested to see what our Patreons put down. I'm sure it's all terrible. So let's get this rolling, Draq. What do you got for number 5?
Number 5 is a tribute to my wonderful daughter because she loves unicorns.
Who doesn't like unicorns? I don't care if I'm a 43-year-old man. I still like unicorns.
Like some unicorns.
I mean, I don't need it to be Lisa Frank or anything like that. Remember I got that unicorn in Dark Age of Camelot?
Yeah.
That thing was the shit. I loved it.
Or the unicorn in Lesser Fate Arc, right? There's lots
the Pain unicorn.
Yep. Yeah, there's lots of good unicorns in MMOs over the ages. I just think it's fun. I think it's the idea of a horse with a horn is a cool riff. And so number 5, unicorn.
Plus you can use their tears for good and evil in Harry Potter.
What about your number 5?
Oh, mine's a classic in all sorts of games. Definitely D&D, the Owlbear. I just think that first off, I like owls a lot. I think owls are one of the coolest birds on the planet. They look cool. They are cool. They're like the best night stalker hunters of all time. And then you mix that with a bear. How could there be a more deadly predator than the owlbear? Such a cool concept of a character to put together. I know that a lot of these mythical characters, especially ones that we're going to list off, are like 2 things put together or 3 things put together. But this is just a great concept. I love this thing. I love they can be cute, like the little babies with their owl faces and their big owl eyes. It's cute. And then when they get big and nasty, they are ferocious. Owlbears are nasty in Dungeons and Dragons. If you see an owlbear and you're under the level 5 and don't have a group together, you better run because you're about to die.
Are you 100% sure you didn't put this on the list just to suck up to Nathan Napalm? Because I kind of feel like that's where you're going here.
What do you mean?
Because his favorite mob in any game anywhere is owlbears. Like he loves owlbears. Yeah, absolutely. You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, no, that's his favorite thing.
I mean, that makes sense. He's a big D&D player, so
he is. Yeah, you guys in your D&D. I did some D&D adventures, but I was never on your level. Like I just wasn't.
And you never will be. Anyway, speaking of not on my level, what's your number 4?
Number 4 has got to be goblins. I love the idea of lots of little tiny mobs, a swarm of mobs that overtake you, and the idea of goblins and just little icky goblins that are green with spears and tribal. I just think it's one of the coolest fantasy tropes that there is. So goblins, number 4.
I think you've only listed this because we're playing Mines of Moria again.
I mean, the Mines of Moria goblins are the absolute number 1 best goblins of any adventure anywhere. But also EverQuest goblins. There's more goblins than just
I'm just saying that's the only reason it made it onto your list. Are goblins really a top 5 mythical beast creature?
Absolutely.
I don't think so. I completely disagree. I think that you're just having because you just played it on Monday night and saw Moria goblins. No. That's why it's on your list.
No.
Okay.
Goblins are staple in the Mythical Beast universe.
Okay, great.
What's a staple for you and your number 4?
How could you not list griffins here? Like, this is such a beautiful, majestic creature. How many times did we die to griffins and still are dying to griffins? It'll never stop. We will never stop dying to griffins. Anything with the head of an eagle is badass. And wings and claws. Like, what? There's nothing that could ever beat this thing. Like, if you were to see a griffin, I don't even think an owlbear could beat a griffin. That'd be a hell of a battle. One can fly. I think the griffin would have the upper hand because it would literally have the high ground, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think the griffin would probably beat an owlbear. But what another badass creature is the griffin.
Yeah, griffins were close to making my top 5. Just kind of a little personal preference, but I do love griffins. I do love having them on a list for sure. So I think solid pick for your number 4.
Well, certainly better than goblins. Anyway, number 3, Draq.
Whoa, centaurs. Number 3, centaurs. I like the centaurs in EverQuest, and I like the centaurs in EverQuest 2.
Definitely.
Very, very cool stuff. I just think that it's just a very cool monster, a very cool mythical beast. I like the idea of a horse running around with a human torso in armor, sometimes with bows and arrows. I just think it's a very cool concept.
Completely agree. This would definitely be in the honorable mention list for me. I love centaurs. The only problem is that horse legs are pretty weak. Like, they break pretty easy. So I feel like the life of a centaur would be a little rough since they're like these mythical war creatures, or they're like fighters, right? I just feel like horses are not necessarily the most stable animals. I mean, I know they're put in stables, but like they break their legs and they're basically dead, right? Like, we shoot them after they break their legs in a race, right?
You didn't say the most powerful mythical beast.
You're right. You're right.
Top 5. So.
You're right. You're
And
right.
also, that little Badoomchish, that lost you this entire top 5.
Whatever. That was
was so
quality
bad.
dad
That
joke.
was so bad.
You loved it. I know
Yeah.
you laughed. I know you were on mute and you were just laughing your ass off. Like, damn, that Deimos is so good.
Yeah. I was laughing at you, not with
That's
you.
fine. That's the same to me. I don't care.
Speaking of laughing at you, what is your number 3?
Dude, Manticore. Are you kidding? This combination of beast thing that I've got going on here. We started with the owlbear, moving to the griffin, but the Manticore where you put together a lion and a scorpion. Oh, that's so badass. Whoever came up with the Manticore is a freaking genius. Like that could be one of the scariest things to ever see rushing towards you. Already scary enough because it's a lion, but then you add a scorpion tail on it. Oh, just so deadly. I don't know if they could beat a griffin in a strength contest, but they certainly beat a griffin in a badass contest because they got that scorpion tail on it.
Well, I don't know if I don't think you ever really played this, but Heroes of Might and Magic 3 was one of my favorite games, and the Manticore was a troop unit that you could use, and it was one of my favorite troops because you would sting people and they would turn to stone, and it was super cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know about top 5. Maybe.
Whatever.
Maybe.
I think they definitely belong. I think they're cool. Scorpion tail. What's more badass than a scorpion tail?
Well, let me tell you what's more badass than a
Please.
scorpion tail. That would be my number 2, which is, of course, giants. You need
Boring.
No, you need giants in every fantasy universe. You need giants in
Sure.
every MMORPG. I think that VR and Pantheon has an amazing idea where you match the giants and you match them against the halflings. Like the halflings and the giants are like going at it. I think that's amazing and awesome, and I am here for it. Even though I'm not going to play a halfling, I think it's going to be a fun dynamic, and I want to adventure over and kill me some giants in Pantheon.
This is as boring as your goblin pick. That's fine. Their giants are fine, but it's just an overgrown human. So boring. And it made your number 2? There's no way that you win this list, even with my stable joke.
Stable joke sinks you. Also, this wasn't the what is the best mix 2 animals together list. This was top 5 mythical beasts.
Here's an animal that I didn't mix together. Have you ever heard of a phoenix, Draq? How did this not make your list? The phoenix is the fire bird that comes back from the dead. How more badass could there be?
I mean, obviously, you were watching a lot of Harry Potter before you made this list. We got the owlbear, we got the griffin, we got the phoenix. Was there a manticore in Harry Potter? I don't remember that, but
I don't think there were owlbears or griffins in Harry Potter.
No, the griffin. Didn't they fly around on a griffin? I'm pretty sure they did.
That was a hippogriff. Yeah, you're right. The same thing. Yeah,
same thing.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't remember any owlbears though.
I don't know.
Or manticores for that matter. That's way too scary.
I don't think there was a manticore, but close
they did
enough.
The snake stuff.
Close enough. Close enough.
Anyway, Phoenix. I just think the Phoenix, the mythicalist of mythical birds, is just too good. But Draq, before we get into our number 1, you know me, we're talking about mythical birds. So honorable mention. Mythical Beasts.
Listen,
are you ready for it?
No,
are you ready for this honorable mention?
No, I'm not ready.
You're definitely not ready for it.
You give the Patreons crap every week about straying from their top 5 and straying off the. But then now
It's my show, Draq. I get to do whatever the fuck I want.
You've created a whole loophole for yourself where you just get to list everything. That's
are you ready?
No, it's crap.
Well, guess what? Can you guess what my honorable mention mythical creature is?
Probably everything.
Well, kind of. It's Pokemon.
Oh my goodness. You lose. You're out. You are get out. Draq number 1, once again, undefeated. Reigning champion of 2025.
I'm sorry that Pokemon are honorable mention greatest mythical beasts. There's over 1,000 of them, Draq. There's over 1,000. Not all of them are awesome, but most of them are. Honorable mention Pokemon.
For 2026, you need to put it on your roadmap that you'd like to win one of these.
Draq, what's your stupid number 1?
My stupid number 1 is, of course, the best. And if you don't have this as your number 1, you've obviously failed at top 5 mythical beasts, because the number one is, of course, dragons.
Without a
Because
doubt.
Dragons are the most awesome.
You can just flash mine up there with yours at the same time.
flashing it up.
Okay.
Yeah, because dragons, and you got all different kinds of dragons. You got different colors of dragons. You got different lore and different genres for dragons. Everybody does it a little different.
Some of them talk. Some of them have arms. Some
Yeah.
of them just have wings. I guess technically those are wyverns, but I don't care. They're
Yeah.
still dragons. Yeah, dragons are the best.
And dragons kill in everything. Dragons in Lord of the Rings are awesome. Dragons in D&D are awesome. Dragons in MMOs are awesome.
Yep.
Like I can't think of a bad dragon in anything that's ever been done, which is why it's pretty much in everything that you find in fantasy world.
Why do you think
Because-
Game of Thrones was so good?
Yeah.
Mother of Dragons.
Mother of Dragons.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. Dragons.
Yep. There is no other number one than dragon. End of list.
Yeah. So if you're on our Patreon, you know who you are.
Y'all better have this. So Draq, play the sound.
Biddly-doo, biddly-doo, biddly-doo.
All right, let's just hit this up real quick. We'll start with Archbishops. Manticore, boom. Totally on there. Beholder, great choice. This was one that we didn't mention, but
Ooh,
great.
that's a good one.
One of the
I
best
like that
D&D
one.
mobs of all time. Number 3, Ogre, or as Draq would pronounce, Org.
An org.
Number 2, Goblin. How did he?
Yeah,
oh,
baby.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, well, but his number 1 was Dragon, so I guess technically justified. If you've got number 1 as your dragon, then you win. So we all win this week, except for Screech. Number 5, Jackalope. Great choice here. The Jackalope is awesome. Remember when they did that on America's Funniest People? Do you remember that show, Jack? It was the spinoff of America's Funniest
No,
Videos.
I didn't have TV when that was going on.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So we won't get into it then. All right, great choice at Jackalope, number 5. Number 4, Goblin. How are all these people that like goblins?
I think
These are the most boring, other than giants. This is like second most boring.
the public has spoken, and you have been outvoted.
I guess. All right, number 3, Bigfoot.
Very to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Number 2, Slender Man. We had to look this up. We don't know what this is. We still don't know what it is. Something about the spaghetti monster, did you say? Do you still got that pulled up?
It's like an internet meme that was started back in 2009 or something like that. I don't know.
Okay,
It's
well,
kinda weird.
internet is not a mythical creature, so Screech are just out.
Yeah.
And then his number 1 was Werewolf? Where are the dragons, Screech?
No.
Dragon didn't even make your top 5? What is wrong with you?
It's freaking inexcusable.
I completely agree. Although werewolves are cool, don't get me wrong. Moving on to Zip. We got Moby Dick. Kind of a little weird choice there.
Wait a minute, Moby Dick being a mythical beast? I don't think of Moby Dick as mythical. Do you?
I mean, did you read the book?
I did, but it's not like
Did
it's not. It's
I need
not,
a refresher. Did Moby Dick actually exist, or was it in the captain's brain the whole time?
No, Moby Dick's not a real life story.
Well, I know, but like, did he never killed Moby Dick? Did Moby Dick actually exist, or was it just a figment of his imagination?
Oh, I don't know about that. It's been friggin' forever. Even if it did exist, it's not mythical.
It's a whale. Yeah,
Mythical is a greater bar than fiction,
I get it.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yep.
a fictional creature.
We
not
have
a
whales
mythical.
in the world.
Yeah.
It is a whale. We
Yeah.
have whales. It's not mythical. Yeah. So
It's
this
not
is
mythical.
This is out. So even if it really was a figment of his imagination, and because I can't remember, maybe we should like read the book. Maybe we should start a reading club.
Yeah, the
and
rewind reading club. Yeah,
Doesn't that
people will
sound
line up
good?
around the block for that. It's
Yeah, I
gonna be
think-
great.
Number 4, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, same thing, boring. Number 3, Sphinx. That's a good one.
Wait, is Sasquatch a giant, just like modern day?
Well, yeah, kinda. Only hairy, like Bigfoot. But yeah, I guess. So boring. You said Sasquatch and Bigfoot were boring, so giants are boring, which was your number 2. So justified and you lose. Number 3, Sphinx. Sphinx is good. I like the Sphinx. That's a great mythical creature. Chupacabra. This is just fun to say. It's not really a good mythical beast. It's, like a giant possum that eats people or drinks blood or something like that in Mexico. It's not really good. It's not a really good mythical beast. It's certainly not better than a Sphinx. That's for sure.
I feel like Zip trolled us a little bit this week. I feel like this is a
Well,
coverage
again,
for us.
he decided to post this last minute, so I guess, these are the things that come to your brain quickly when you don't have time to think about it like we did and put together proper lists, although you giants and goblins are stupid. But he did have number 1 as dragon. So justified, totally fine. We all got to the same location except for Screech, which is great. Last but not least, Dwimble. We got Siren, which was not mentioned. You'd think I'd mention that because they woo with their voices like I do as the real life bard. So Sirens are good. Minotaur, another classic that we didn't mention. Half bull,
Minotaur's
half
real
human.
good. Love
Yep,
it.
yep.
Good job.
But then he put the Loch Ness Monster as number 3.
Yeah, we're starting to veer off into not mythical again.
When we're talking about Bigfoot and we're talking about Nessie, I just don't know. Are they really mythical creatures? Although technically, I think they say that Nessie is a Leviathan. So
Dude, if you would have put Leviathan, that would have been totally money.
Sure. I don't know. Tough to say. When they're like these.
Plus, when you say Nessie, that's how you list it. Nessie.
Well, he said the Loch Ness Monster. I put it Nessie for you because
you did.
Yeah, to shorten it down for your
your
list.
fault, and another reason why you lose.
You have already lost. You lose everyone, Draq. Last but not least, Dragon. He had number 1. So of the 6 lists that were put together, 5 of us had Dragon, and and Screech had Werewolf, and didn't even list Dragon. What were you thinking?
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, Dimos, it's that time again. It's time to give the roadmap for what the next rewind will be like.
I can't think of that far in advance.
We're just gonna Chris Rowan this thing together like we always do.